All right, ready to show them yet? All right, 3, 2, 1.
Super excited today because there's a couple new things I want to show you. First of which is my new studio. So if you haven't noticed, you are now in the Up North Airgunner studio with the FX Airguns wall of beauty here. I really can't tell you how excited I am to bring this to my YouTube channel. I spent so many months cooped up in the wintertime, really can't get out and shoot, but I have so many product reviews like this that I want to do. So now I've got a studio to do it. So a lot of what you see here in the background is actually going to start getting integrated into my channel. So here on this side, we have an entire wall of military service rifles going from the Civil War all the way down to World War II. And on this side, we have every single 22 long rifle and also 22 short military training rifle adopted by the U.S. military. Every one of these is actually stamped with U.S. government. So basically we have rifles here that date from the early 1900s all the way through World War II that were adopted. And this will be a series coming up on my channel here. So I'm calling this the Origin series. And basically we're going through the history of marksmanship and marksmanship qualification and a lot of the things that in early days of the military really has now evolved into things that we see that we're doing in the civilian world right now, like with NRL 22 and a lot of these other great shooting competitions like the Northeast Airgun Classic, the Pyramid Cup, which was just announced, and the Rocky Mountain Airgun Challenge. And so, all of these precision shooting and marksmanship, challenges that we're doing, I mean, we used to have to do it so that way we could fight wars, so that way we could actually win wars, and we could have our freedoms. So I'm tying that all together to tell you a little bit about the history of marksmanship and precision shooting, and I'm calling it the Origin series. And so we're going to be taking all of that and tying it to the FX line of airguns that we have here on display. If you are new to airguns, or if you are coming from milsurp, or you're a precision powder burner firearm shooter, these right here, folks, these FX airguns are the highest precision airguns that you can find on the market today. I love absolutely every one of them. Every rifle you see on my wall there has a different kind of purpose to it. We'll cover that as we compare all of these. But to the product review that we're doing today, the FX Impact Fishing Kit from Saber Tactical. And again, I have been waiting 2 years to show you what's in this box. So 2 years ago, I was able to join Stain, Val, and Donnie out in Utah, and we did some prototype testing, and it was so much fun. We threw some jugs out into the water, and we were out there shooting these very heavy fiberglass arrows.
Boom, right to the center of it.
Nice, dude.
Barely uses any air.
Barely, yeah.
I'm still at 250.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
After two, 3 shots?
We've gone from like 10 at night till 5 in the morning on one tank.
I love this, man.
This is the first time prototype we've ever used that. So we just made that yesterday.
That's genius, because that's a universal size for any reel.
Yep.
So if you got a favorite spooling reel you want to use,
Exactly.
pop that on. So I got to use my salmon reel on that thing.
You could? Yeah.
Which you want that extra beefiness if you're pulling in a carp anyway.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of things that I learned during this process to better understand what kind of R&D it took for Saber Tactical to actually get a useful and successful product to market. And it's not as easy as you would think of just shoving a fiberglass arrow into a barrel. Really, it comes down to being able to tune the gun down so you're not shooting these arrows with such high power into the water, through the water, and then into the mud. Because if you get these things stuck into mud, you're not getting them back, and you're losing probably, what is this, like a $30 to $50 arrow. So a lot of what they had to do, kind of a lot of the secret sauce, is in this pellet probe thing here. It actually doesn't cover the transfer port. It actually seals the barrel completely here. And then basically you're not losing any air. It's completely sealing it, but it's not covering up the transfer port at all. So yeah, you're going to swap out your regular pellet probe or your pin probe that you have in your Impact, and you're going to put in this special probe. It comes with the barrel here, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this barrel because there's some hidden secrets in here that I was able to kind of uncover We'll talk about that. So it comes with the barrel. It comes with 2 of these arrows. Again, these are fiberglass. And what's cool about these arrows is they designed this here at the brass end. You'll notice that it actually has a bit of a cone shape. That has a purpose to it. It basically fills, there's like a little bit of a stop in where the brass transfer port piece meets the barrel. So that seals that completely. And then also this C-lock clip here helps it so the arrow does not fall out of the barrel as you're aiming down at the fish, which is great. So you've got this swivel here, the slide. This is where your string goes. Comes with 2 broadheads. Basically what it does is when it goes through the fish, these 2 barbs, when you pull the fish back, the barbs grab so that way the arrow doesn't pull back through the fish. Very, very heavy. I actually didn't weigh these, but if I had to guess, probably double or triple the weight of a regular deer hunting arrow. So I've got mine set up here with my reel. And normally when I've bow fished in the past, I've actually put a little barrel swivel here on it, but I just did a quick knot. And that's when you put this down in the barrel, this part will hang out and it'll dangle a little bit, and it runs through the this part right here. It just keeps the line out of the way. And so this goes over your bottle and this goes on the barrel, and then the line goes through this. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a pro tip. Val from Saber Tactical was not too happy with me on the day that we went out there and did the prototype testing, because let me give you a little pro tip. Always open the bail before you pull the trigger. So see, I've got some slack right there. I launched 3 different arrows without opening the bail, and it broke right off. Those arrows are at the bottom of that lake, never to be found again. So Val, I apologize, but hey, at least I was able to show you all the stupid stuff other people were going to do because I did it. But so as you're picking out a reel for this kit, I highly suggest actually going out and buying a purpose-built bow fishing reel. And the reason being is the fish that you're going to be pulling in, as far as I know, I don't think there are any states that allow you to do this with any true game fish like bass or any kind of game fish. Typically, you're going to be going after nuisance fish like carp. So carp are huge. So you really want to have a hefty reel. Now, they did design this to accept any kind of fishing reel, which is kind of cool. It's very standard, like how you would see at the backside of a fishing rod, how it inserts. So for me, I do a lot of salmon fishing and lake trout fishing in Lake Michigan. I have some pretty heavy tackle that I could potentially use one of those reels. It's just critical that you're using the bow fishing line, though. So yeah, you definitely want to use a beefier reel. Now, another reason why you would want to use a very heavy-duty reel is that in the state of Florida, as of last fall, I believe, if you are going after alligator, you have to use a retrieval device. So now this actually becomes a Florida requirement if you're going to be doing that with alligator, which I definitely plan on doing this fall. In that video, you'll also notice that I was using a red dot. And so the reason why we use red dots, because you don't need to have that kind of magnification. I mean, the fish are like right there, maybe 20 yards away. And if you look at some of my other videos and some of the posts I've made, I run a red dot a lot of times, even when deer hunting. And the reason being is that here in Michigan and in the Midwest, we're not shooting hundreds of yards. Typically with turkeys and deer and a lot of the game animals that I hunt here in Michigan, I'm 100 yards and in, sometimes even probably even like 40 yards and in. So for me, running a red dot has been something I've been doing a lot during the deer hunting season. So you've seen this in a previous video. This is the Element Helix HD with the Raptor reticle. And you know, I get it. There's a huge movement right now moving to first focal plane scopes, and 100%. If you're going to be doing long range precision shooting or, you know, NRL 22 PRS, definitely a first focal plane from the Element Optics lineup, like either the Titan, any of their first focal plane scopes is going to be the way to go. But if you're a hunter like me, a lot of that is just reticles and scope that you don't need, and it's not something that's useful for me during the deer hunting season. And when they came out with the Helix HD with the Raptor reticle, this was it. This was like hands down the most universal scope that I had been wanting for a long, long time. One, it goes down to 2x magnification up to 16. The other thing is that the reticle itself is tunable to absolutely any projectile. You could literally tune this thing to a frisbee if you wanted to. If you could throw that frisbee the same velocity every single time, you could tune it to a frisbee. So how you do that is that it's actually kind of very similar. If you think about a second focal plane scope, if you're familiar with how crossbow scopes work, where you're choosing a velocity that's stated on the adjuster to a certain known feet per second, it's basically just kind of mimicking, it's a second focal plane scope, and you're just tuning the magnification of that reticle to the where that the impact points based on the drop trajectory of whatever projectile you're shooting. So out of the box, this comes pre-calibrated to a 6.5 Creedmoor or a 308 powder burner, but then you can put it onto a big bore air gun, you can put it onto a crossbow, you could put it onto an Airgun arrow slinger, you could use it to shoot fish with and crank it down to 2x. And what's so awesome about this is that the reticle itself, those little holdover lines, I've been able to figure out how to tune it to any arrow slinging device that I own, any crossbow, airgun, arrow slinger. Basically, I just zero at 20 or 30 yards, and then I move my box back to 30 yards, 40 yards, 50 yards, and I start backing out the magnification so I can tune that reticle to each one of those hold points that you see in the Raptor reticle to match whatever tool that I'm using, and then I just document it that I know that my Raven R500 at 5x, 30 yard zero, 40, 50, 60. Actually on this, I zeroed in at 20, so it's 20, 30, 40. So what I love about this scope, it is literally the most universal hunting scope that I have in my arsenal, and I love this thing. So if you are a big game hunter or a hunter like myself, this is your go-to scope. Now, the rest of the video is just up north airgunner, Chris Turek R&D. You know me, I tinker a lot, and when we were out there in Utah doing this prototype testing, there was one moment where the gears started turning in my head, and that is where I just took the rifle, put it at a 45-degree angle, and I cranked it all the way up on the power wheel, and I just sent it 3, 2, 1. That arrow flew through the air all the way to the end of the bale. All the line was let out, and basically it was probably over 100 yards away, and it went into the water.
Hey, you took it to the end.
Yeah. In my head, I was like, geez, that like being able to crank this thing up because we're shooting it at such a low tune for the fishing kit. What would happen if I could figure out a way to put a regular sized arrow in this thing? Could I use this for deer hunting? And so I came home and I 3D printed basically an end piece that's very similar to the brass piece. And I took one of my regular arrows out of my quiver that I take with my compound bow with my Bowtech, cut a couple inches off the end of it, and I put some Velcro fletching material, very similar to, so when I did the 150-yard golf ball shot a couple years ago. Yeah! Woo! 150 yards with an air bolt, baby! Yeah! Same thing. Those arrows are basically fleshed with just like the fuzzy side of Velcro. Threw that on there, threw on a 100 grain field point in my garage. All right, so we've got these 3D printed bases that I designed, and I also have this fletched with basically Velcro. And we're gonna see what kind of penetration we're getting into the box. But that's full penetration. But the base fell off and ricocheted back. So velocity-wise, yeah. I mean, I know when I'm shooting these with my compound bow, with the FX Crown or the FX Dreamline, basically it's stopping the arrow right here. And that's with a crossbow bolt, which is probably 8 inches shorter.
That's a full-size bolt all the way through.
And I basically blasted right through my my box target. So thank goodness I had my bigger box behind that. Otherwise, I would have had an arrow right through my garage door. But what's crazy about this is this was only regulated on the second regulator. I think it was like 139 bar. So if you imagine this thing at, let's say, like 150 to like 170 bar with like tungsten in it, whew. I mean, if you've watched some of my other recent hunting videos where I went out with the Crown and I went out with the Dreamline, slinging the arrow kits that are actually right there with the GRS rifle stocks right there, I'm blowing through deer at, 25, 30 yards. I'm completely, double penetration with the single bevel broadheads on those things. Being able to launch it, I'm going to guess it's going to be well over 400 feet per second with even with a heavier 225 grain broadhead out of the FX Impact. That just turned this into a pig hunting gun, a deer hunting gun in states where it is legal. So super excited about that test. But wait, there's more. So if you've been watching my channel for the last couple of years, you'll probably remember the Airgun turkey shotgun video that I did a couple of years ago. That was, again, another one of my just crazy things. I took a 410 shotgun barrel, I put it on an Air Force Texan, and I went out turkey hunting. I muzzle loaded it with like foam and earplugs, and I dropped the very first legal airgun shotgun turkey here in the state of Michigan. But now, think about this. The first thing that I saw, though, was the inner diameter of this barrel. So if you're thinking what I'm thinking, the first thing I did is to put a set of calipers on this. Guess what? This is basically like a 410 shotgun barrel right here. And I took the same technique that I used to get that turkey a couple years ago. I muzzle loaded it with some foam, some tungsten super shot, and another piece of foam to seal it in. It was patterning great, like 10 to 20 yards. Then I came home and I 3D printed some custom shotgun wads, and I put it in there and it held an even tighter group. So this right here is going to be my FX Impact shotgun turkey getter that I'm going to be hunting for 2023 here in Michigan and actually a couple different states across the United States. So again, not an official Saber Tactical part of this product, but it's super exciting because I know it works. I know that this will get a turkey. I've done the testing. I've done the testing with tungsten. I have gotten a turkey with tungsten with the same 410 barrel kind of muzzle loading approach. So I know that works. And the fact that I'm blowing through a box target with these arrows, we know that it has enough power to get through a deer. So I am no longer calling this the FX Impact Saber Tactical Fishing Kit. This is the FX Impact Do Everything Kit. This is the universal hunter's airgun kit. Like, it does everything. So super excited about that. And finally, I want to talk about just the flexibility of the FX Impact platform. Anyway, this right here is my air gun that I used during the Rocky Mountain Airgun Challenge that I made the finals. And I told myself I would never touch the tune, I would never touch the settings. But when this kit got here, I was like, I got it installed. So what's great though is I can pop all this back off, throw my 30 cal pellet barrel back in there, throw the pellet probe back in, go back to my tune that I documented, and now I'm precision air gutting with pellets, 100-yard bench rest once again. And that's just awesome how the flexibility of the FX Impact really is. Okay, so we covered a lot of stuff in this video. And again, I just want to say a huge shout out to Saber Tactical. Those guys over there, they're always making awesome products. They're always thinking ahead. Hanging out with Val and Thane for those couple days, just watching how they think. I was able to go into their warehouse, into their headquarters there, just see some of the R&D that they do. And I'll tell you what, they think differently. And we as air gunners are lucky to get products like this from Saber Tactical. So definitely check these out at Utah Air Guns. So there it is, everybody. Quick look at the new studio, quick look at the FX Impact fishing kit from Saber Tactical. I have got the Northeast Airgun Classic coming up here pretty soon, so it's been fun playing with the fishing kit, but it's time to turn her back into her pellet form and get ready for that. If you have not heard, the Pyramid Cup actually was just announced, so definitely get registered for that. Even if you don't want to compete, this has been my advice to any air gunner. Even if you do not want to compete, definitely come to any one of these airgun competitions, the Northeast Airgun Classic, Pyramid Cup, the Rocky Mountain Airgun Challenge. Just show up as a spectator. It is absolutely fun hanging out with you all, getting a chance to meet you, see you in person. I guarantee you are going to make new friends. Look, yes, it's a competition. There's a lot of money on the line, and don't get me wrong, we all would love to win that prize. But the prize that we get is being able to hang out and create this great community of airgunners. I am so happy to be part of it. I'm glad you're part of it too. So again, if you'd like to see more content like this and have me go over other products, please like and subscribe. It definitely helps out my channel. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Take care. 3, 2, 1.
Hey, you took it to the end. Look.
Yeah.